Hello, this is Angela and thank you for joining me. In today's information snippet, I'll be talking about neck pain. You know, the type of neck pain where you're feeling really tight through those neck muscles, either through the back or into the sides. You're feeling quite stiff in that area and you're almost feeling as if these muscles are just switching on more than they should for the type of either work that you're doing or the type of exercise that you're doing as well. Now, there are a few reasons why we do suffer from discomfort or stiffness through the neck area. One might be that we've got an injury, you know, either something that's happened in the past, affected one of our spinal muscles perhaps, a nerve injury, or even an injury in the shoulders can actually cause a lot of imbalance through this part of the body. If that is your case, the best thing you probably can do is skip this video completely and go straight to seeing a physiotherapist or an exercise professional. Hello, this is Angela and thank you for joining me. In today's information snippet, I'll be talking about neck pain. You know, the type of neck pain where you've got discomfort, you've got stiffness, a feeling of tightness through that area in general, and you're just feeling as if these muscles are just not relaxing. They're just switched on too much when you're doing just day-to-day work or when you're exercising. Now, there are a few different reasons why we can actually get neck pain in this area. One could be that you've got an injury, and you probably would know about it already, either in the spine, the vertebrae, in the nerves surrounding that area, or even in the shoulders. And that itself may be causing some imbalance, which is causing certain muscles to switch on more than others. If you find that that could be the reason for you, you're better off going straight to seeing someone who is an expert in actually dealing with these types of injuries, whether it's your GP or a physiotherapist, just someone that can actually give you some guidance to actually help you overcome what it is that's causing the injury, or to find a way of helping you, live and work through it. Now, another key reason that we often do get discomfort through the neck area is because we do have that forward lean in our head. If we're leaning forward, either because we're sitting at a desk for a long periods of time, on our phone, or even with age, our head has sort of come in front of our body rather than sitting back on top of our torso. And that can be quite a heavy weight for the body to have to bear in front. So it's putting a lot of strain on through these muscles. I mean, they say that our head can weigh anywhere from, say, 4 to 5 kilos. So it's a decent amount of weight to have to be trying to hold up with just a few little neck muscles. Another reason that it can happen is because of stress. And many of us tend to have a nerve reaction when we're stressed, and our muscles tighten up. And if you do tend to carry your stress in this part of the body, you will feel that these muscles just sort of feel as if they're seizing up a lot more than usual. So in that case, having that awareness of that what's causing it is a big part of actually trying to deal with it. So if you do find yourself highly strung, really taking the time to try and de-stress generally, you'll find that will also help with this. But also to consciously feel as if you're holding your neck a lot taller. So really having that feeling as if you're stretching that neck, you're really trying to feel almost as if you're balancing that book on your head, so that you're really trying to stand tall. That will tend to stretch you out through the neck quite a bit as well. Another reason could be is that we're quite weak through the neck area. So when we do other movements, especially when it comes to engaging our back muscles, rather than the back muscles doing a lot of the work, the shoulders and these neck muscles tend to actually switch on more than they should. And in big part, that's very much down to having correct engagement through those back muscles, and just learning to really be aware that you're trying really hard not to switch these muscles on when you do certain exercises. Our first move is a mobility exercise, and we're also going to then take that into a stretch. So to start off with, you can be seated either in an upright chair or just down on the floor cross-legged or with your feet in front of you. But essentially you want your upper body to be nice and upright, shoulders down and back, chin just gently tucked in so that you almost feel like you're pulling your head back on top of your body. And from here, rolling to, or turning to one side rather, and then back to the center and then over to the other side. So you're continually moving nice and slow and controlled. And you'll find that as you're warming up with this, you may start to feel a bit less stiffness if you're tighter on one side than the other, and just getting that little bit of extra reach, just that little extra range of movement each time you're doing it. Just make sure that as you're doing this, you're doing that check every now and then to make sure that the shoulders are not starting to ride up again. just from side to side. So it's nice rotation, and then back to the center. So you could do that for about 30 seconds to a minute, and the same applies for most of the following exercises that we're doing. Okay, for the next one, I'd like you to actually bring that chin right in and then rotate to one side. So essentially you're looking diagonally away, say just past your knee if you're cross-legged, or just over towards the floor in the distance. Bring it back to the center and then upright again. Going down, rotating to the other side. Looking diagonally away from you, back to the center, and then bring that head back into that upright position. So bringing that head forward, turning to one side, and you should feel a nice stretch right through the into the neck. If you're particularly tight on one side, you'll notice this a lot more. And over to the other side. And then back to the center. Now from here, what I'd like you to do is to actually hold yourself in that upright position, and just from there, just turning just to that diagonal position, and then bringing your chin down. Bring your chin up, bring it back to the center, across to the other side, and then bring that chin down. So essentially what we're doing here is we're going through a few different ranges of movement. And you may find there is that odd sticking point that you may pick up if you do it, the move a certain way and not another way. Back down again, and then back to the center. So that's drill number 3. And one more in this sequence, just bringing that ear down towards your shoulder on one side, back to that upright position, and then over to the other side. A couple of points relating to this one. As you're doing that, just making sure you're not lifting that shoulder up, so really trying to keep both shoulders equally down at the same time. And if you want to actually then get to the point where you're turning this into a stretch, getting to the point where you're just holding in that position, you can also take one hand, if you're being very careful, and just gently just put the weight of your hand on your head. So you're not pulling your head down, you're just adding a bit more weight with that hand on there. And that should also help you to feel that stretch a little bit more intensely. Bring it back up again. We're going to do the same on the other side. Bring the head over, make sure the head's not forward. You've got it back, your back on top of your body. Bring that ear down towards that shoulder, keep the shoulder down. Opposite hand, just put that weight on your head and hold it there. Feeling that, that extra stretch right through this side. Bring it back up to that position. And that in itself is a nice way of just easing a little bit of that tension. And it's something that you can do anytime. If you're seated at a desk, just going through a few of these little drills will also help with mobility so that you're not stiffening up too much, and also giving you just a little bit of relief from some of those tighter muscles. In this exercise, we're going to be focusing on trying to bring our head back on top of our body. So what I'd like to do is take your finger, just place it on your chin, and then from there feeling as if you're pulling that chin back. Holding it there in that position. And then just relax it a little bit. And then come back and let's do that again. And then relax it. So just doing that, holding it up to longer periods, like 10 to 20 seconds at a time, making sure the whole time that you're doing it, those shoulders stay down and back. Another way that we can do this is by taking both hands, interlacing them right and just holding them behind your head. And from this position, just feeling as if you're pulling your head back into your hands. And then relaxing it, and then doing that again. Really pulling that head back, keeping that chin just tucked in gently as you're doing it, so the back of your neck is nice and long. And relax. I'll do that one more time. Keep those shoulders down and back as you're doing it. And you may also feel this going into your upper back area as well. Just bring that back. And give that a rest. For our next exercise, we're going to be lying down on our mat. So for this one, I would like you to just lie down, bend those knees so that your back is flat on the floor. And in this position, keeping that chin just gently tucked in, you can take both hands, just place them behind your head as well. Just bring your head off the floor and just holding it there. Now, if you have the strength, let go of those hands and just holding yourself in that position. Now, very important here to make sure that you're not pointing your chin up at the ceiling. So it's like you're balancing an apple under your chin. You may have a bit of a double chin, but that's absolutely allowed. Keep those shoulders down and back. And eyes are looking just diagonally forward, essentially in the distance where the wall meets the ceiling in the room that you're in. And then bring that back down to the ground. Do that again, keeping that neck nice and long. Again, if you need to, keep those hands behind your head. And then as you get stronger, you'll find that you're less reliant on those hands. And then back down again. I'm now going to run through 2 upper back exercises that are intended to actually help us switch on these upper back muscles so that they're actually doing the bulk of the work when it comes to certain moves and exercises. Often it's because these muscles are quite lazy that our neck muscles tend to switch on a lot faster. So the more that we can actually activate and strengthen these upper back muscles, the less work that our shoulders have to do. So the first one is what we call a trapezius activation, because we're essentially trying to activate the trapezius muscle, which is quite a large diamond-shaped muscles right through our upper back. And for this one, we're doing what I call a V squeeze. So imagine that you've got, I guess, a tip at each shoulder and another one right in the middle of your upper back or middle back there, essentially where your bra line would be if you wear a bra. And what I'd like you to do is essentially squeeze, essentially create a V shape. So you're squeezing downwards and inwards at the same time. So it's almost like you're bringing those shoulder blades a little bit closer together and then relaxing them. So squeeze and release. You can do this lying down on the floor, just with your forehead touching the floor. Relax and just squeezing and releasing. So we're really isolating those muscles. But even in an upright position like this or leaning over, we can really get into those muscles. You've just got to make sure that you've got core switched on so that we're protecting lower back if we're leaning over. So it's just a squeeze and release, keeping that neck really nice and long as you're doing it. And this is the sort of move you can do anywhere. You know, if you're sitting at a desk and you just want to break from what your activities are at that point, even if you're lying in bed, you can just squeeze and release these muscles, just trying to really make sure that they're switching on. Our next exercise is also working right through that part of the body, but also getting into some of those deeper muscles a bit more, and that's what we call a row. Now, you can do a row in many ways. You can actually do it so that you're pulling, you're on a bench and you're pulling weights up and down so that we're really getting to those muscles, or you can do it with a band, which is a really great way of doing it. You can either do this in an upright position where you put the band around, say, a doorknob or a bar, and then pulling away. But I'm going to do it here in a seated position using my feet to put the band around. So sitting nice and tall, shoulders are down and back, so make sure that core is switched on. Tighten the band if you feel that you need a bit more resistance. Make sure you've got a nice long neck there, and from there keep those hands and arms very close to your body. So it's as if your elbows are just skimming past your body and elbows pointing to the back, and then bring it forward again. So pulling back, squeezing those shoulder blades and bringing it forward. So as you're doing this, just making sure that you're not letting the neck scrunch up. So keeping those shoulders down, away from your ears. Keeping those elbows really close to your body. So you're just skimming past them. And that way we're really honing in onto those upper and middle back muscles. Thank you for joining me, and I hope that you find that some of those stretches and those exercises do make a difference to helping ease that stiffness through your neck area. Just a reminder that there's a few things we need to do. Firstly, posturally, making sure that we're actually aware of what it means to actually stand and move with good posture, so that we're actually engaging the right muscles to hold us in position and keep a head back on top of our body. Secondly, make sure that we're actually consciously aware of the fact that it's the stress that's often leading to this, and making the effort to stretch these muscles, relax them, and also to deal with our stress so that we're not at the mercy of body changes when we're actually going through a heightened mental state. And thirdly, to make sure that we're actually consciously strengthening our neck muscles and also strengthening our back muscles so that we're just putting a lot less stress on this part of the body. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.